What's going on YouTube? We are here finally with our team predictions for the 2023 XFL season. Looking to get into this, the reason for my delay, and I think I was smart to do this, was a lot of other people releasing previews early, which I get. I'm getting excited, but there's been a lot of roster shakeup, different quarterbacks, as with this first team we'll see. A lot of moving parts, and I just want to kind of let the roster settle. I know the big roster cuts, they're at 70 right now. They got to be at 50 by the time the season starts. So there's going to be a lot of guys cut, but and there could be some trades, some guys coming from the NFL. I don't know. But yeah, I think a good time as any. We only got a few more weeks before the season starts, so let's hop into it. The first thing we're going to cover is the DC Defenders. Um, one of the started off hot last season, last XFL season, but ended up kind of petering out. Before we go any further, this XFL roster I'm using is from a Twitter user named at XFL Analyst. I'll link to the spreadsheet I'm using, and I'll link their Twitter down below. It was a great resource to find, as you can see. I highly recommend checking it out. They're constantly updating the rosters. Constantly updating people on XFL news in general. It's a great follow for the season. I follow myself, and it's been a huge resource. And especially with the speed at which the XFL is uploading rosters and changing and updating numbers and all that. It's nice to have someone who's doing that work. And also, as you can see, they're showing us the previous experience when they're drafted, their college, their age, all these factors right here, nice and clean. So I highly recommend giving at XFL Analyst a follow. Let's start with their coach, though, Reggie Barlow. For those who don't know, Reggie Barlow came from Alabama State, I believe. Wrong person. That's Reggie Northup, excuse me. Wrong Reggie. Reggie Barlow, he's the head coach of the Defenders. He was a secondary coach in Jacksonville for a while. He played in Jacksonville for a while. Sorry. He was the quarterback coach at Alabama State, the head coach at Alabama State, and the head coach at Virginia State. He was a two-time Black College National, which is the award given to the best HBCU team in the country. Pretty accomplished coach, has some playing experience, which I always think is big in these leagues. Hasn't coached for a couple, looks like a little bit. Might have had a year or two off, but it'll be exciting to get him back in. He's clearly got lots of experience. I think he'll be a strong leader for this team. Just going through the roster, so these are kind of ranked in order of their rankings. So, for example, the quarterbacks, that's how they listed. I haven't asked them, but I assume this is correct. So they have Jordan Ta'amu at 1, which I would expect to be the case as a starter. Jordan Ta'amu is probably my favorite spring league quarterback, to be honest. Well, top 2, maybe with Case Cookus as a close second, or maybe Case Cookus taking over him. But I love Jordan Ta'amu. I don't know why he didn't get a bigger NFL shot that he's gotten, quite frankly. He had a great USFL season last year for the Tampa Bay Bandits, led the league in passing touchdowns and passing yards. His team struggled a little bit, but I think there's a lot of other issues on that team. I think Jordan Ta'amu is a perfect spring quarterback. He is pretty accurate with the football. He's mobile enough, but doesn't need his legs. I think this is a home run. I was a little nervous about Washington's QB situation, but I think it'll be a great fit. At running back, the number one running back they've got, and Derek King, I think will be interesting. We'll see. Eric Dungy, I'm not sure if he'll even make the team. I was high on him. He's a good upside, but I think with Jordan Ta'amu, I think you have your number one guy as long as he doesn't get hurt. Abram Smith, out of Baylor, he was a pretty strong. I have forgotten about him, full transparency, but he was a really good running back at Baylor. You can go to his 2021 stats. The 2020 season, I'm not sure if he opted out. He was hurt. Oh, excuse me. That's right. He played linebacker in 2020. So he's played linebacker. He started running back, then went to linebacker, then back to running back. And you can see it's 1,600 yards and 12 TDs in the Big 12 for a pretty good Baylor team. Powerful runner, doesn't seem super quick side to side or elusive, But clearly a tough runner. I think he'll be a great guy to get you 3 or 4 yards, which is huge. And he's got some speed, but just not that quick lateral speed from what I could see and what I've read. But I think that's a great pickup. He doesn't have too many carries, which always makes me nervous. These guys who come out of college with like 600 carries and their knees are shot. So I think that's helpful, and I think he'll be at the worst a serviceable running back, but I think he'll be a pretty good one too, if not putting up the highlight reel plays. Next up, we got KD Cannon, another wide receiver, also from Baylor, a guy with some XFL experience, indoor football league experience, some CFL experience. It's a quick guy. We'll go here to his measurables: 4.41 40. Again at Baylor in 2016, 1,200 receiving yards, 13 TDs. Has some pretty impressive numbers. Hasn't stuck anywhere in the NFL. He's a little bit on the smaller side. He's only 5'11", which hurts him, I'm sure. And seems like it. He just it's hard to be a great receiver at 5'11" unless you're one of the top 2 or 3 guys at your position. But super explosive guy. I think he'll be great on the outside. Jaquez, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, from Sam Houston. Super dynamic returner. Originally went to Howard for a couple years, decided to transfer. Transferred to Sam Houston, was a really good returner. Really explosive guy. Again, I think they have the guy who's only 5'10", but they have 2 really explosive guys on the outside, which I think is huge and will help them. I think they could have a lot of big plays. My concern with their wide receiver room is just that they don't have a lot of size. I mean, you go on the depth chart, some of these guys are 6'2", but I don't think a lot of these guys are going to make the team. Who knows who their third guy is, but from everything I've read, Cannon and Ezzard are going to be their top 2 wideouts. Simi Cobbs, I guess, could be helpful with that, but I would just like a little bit more size on the outside. But Tamu's game is all short dump offs, quick games, stuff like that, rolling out the pocket. So I think maybe it works, and I think they certainly have the big play potential, and we'll see how that goes. Kahale Warring, excuse me, a big 3rd-round draft pick by the Houston Texans. Got injured a bunch. Got hurt his knee a couple times, has been injured reserve, played a little bit and got hurt again, then just kind of hasn't stuck. Pretty impressive athlete. When you're drafting a 3rd round, he's got some good speed, good size. And Briley Moore is another guy. He got signed by the Titans, tore his ACL in 2021 training camp. Then was still, after the 2022 camp, he couldn't stick around. I don't know. I haven't dove into his film a ton, but seems like a pretty explosive guy. Young, looking to prove himself. Both pretty talented, so I think both their tight ends are pretty strong. The offensive linemen, we'll go through this quickly. Line play is not my strength. I'll have to get my coach friend back on the pod video to talk about this. But my biggest concern with them is if you look at all these guys, they're all pretty young. The oldest guy is 20, 25, 26, 23, 23. Doesn't mean they're not good. It just makes me a little nervous. They're not super experienced. They have a lot more experience at every other position. And some of those guys further down the depth chart are. And maybe they'll get the starting jobs just by that experience. But young guys aren't bad. Doesn't mean they're gonna be bad. It just makes me a little nervous at their center. But clearly got a lot of size. Smallest guy, they're all over 300 pounds, which is helpful. And I think they'll be good to pave some running lanes. Defensively, again, Jarrell Owens, 2nd-team All Big 12 guy. Fadol Brown, I believe he played in the USFL as well. Also has some talent. In the USFL is getting a little bit of run at different points in the NFL, I believe. Just like quick, like handful of tackles, but some little athletic experience there, which is nice. Davin Bellamy, their defense has a lot of guys, a lot of experience, which I like. We got like Reggie Northup, former USFL, XFL guy, MMA fighter actually, which I did not realize. I think he's fighting 5 MMA fights. So tough guy, no spring football. I think that's a great addition, and one of those veteran guys who hopefully can, give this team a boost. I hope he makes the team. In the secondary, I didn't go through a ton. Nice experience in the secondary room. And their secondary will be solid. I think their linebacking core think their D line will be solid. I don't think their defense is gonna be anything amazing from what I know. Doesn't mean it won't be, but just evaluating the talent as I see it. And then special teams, Matthew McCrane from Kansas State. He's kicked some in the NFL. I think he's 8 for 12 in his NFL career. Undrafted doesn't mean a ton, but former XFL guy. I think he'll be a perfectly serviceable kicker. So yeah, that's my review. I'm not gonna say where I think they're gonna rank and do the schedule just yet, but I think they're gonna be pretty good. I think they have a great quarterback, a good running back, explosive wideouts, good tight ends. I think they're off and big offensive line, even though they're young. I think they could grow together. I think they're offensively, they're going to be fine. Defensively, I haven't dove as far into the tape. I don't see as many big names from when I look through the roster. So I think, again, not having done the rest of these breakdowns yet, I'll have to see where everything. Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. Just a brief interruption. So yeah, I think they'll be near the top. I think they have one of the best quarterbacks. If I was going to redo my quarterback rank, was probably in my top one or two. I think he might be the one guy to give Ben DiNucci a run for the MVP if they put the talent around him. I think he has pretty solid weapons. So thinking off the top of my head, they're going to be my guess they'll be a playoff team if Ta'amu stays healthy. I think that's just how it works at any level. You have the good quarterback, you're going to be competitive. I put the floor at around 4 wins. I'll put the ceiling at 8. Again, not knowing the schedule. Again, who knows? But so yeah, thanks for watching. Again, shout out to XFL analysts for providing those rosters for me so I could do this breakdown. And yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll probably be uploading a bunch of these in the next few weeks, so be on the lookout. Let me know in the comments what you think about the DC Defenders or any of the players they have. If there's anything else you want me to cover in these. Thanks, guys.